I'm Sydney Uppen, and this is my autoethnography on college bar culture. General bar culture is an interesting atmosphere in and of itself. Every bar will have a different culture surrounding it depending on the theme of the bar, the clientele, the location, and even the time of day you're in the bar. As a bartender for over 2 years, there are 3 different types of bars that I've worked in. Currently, for the last 3 months, I have been employed at what you would consider a college bar. College bar is arguably one of the more unique bar cultures that exist. As a bartender, you have one of the best vantage points for observing the clientele and the people in the bar. The clientele at the bar I work at is almost entirely students from Yale and students from Quinnipiac University, more so their athletic teams. The clientele at these bars is predominantly white males from the hockey team, their lacrosse team, a football team, etc. The class status conflict between the Yale students and the Quinnipiac students seems to exist mostly among the male athletes of these universities. While each university has its own smaller cliques within its sports teams, the larger subcultures of the 2 universities do not tend to commingle with each other. Most nights this disconnect will go as far as creating an actual physical split between the 2 universities, where the Yale students will dominate one side of the bar while the Quinnipiac students will dominate the other side. The difference in class status is also visible in the apparel of these students, seeing the Yale students tend to dress in button-ups, suits, ties, while the Quinnipiac students will tend to dress more casually in jeans, t-shirts, and sneakers. On the rare occasion that there is commingling between the 2, it usually results in some passive-aggressive mention of the differences in class between the students or how one group believes they are superior to the other. The Yale male students appear to believe that they are superior to their Quinnipiac counterparts. I have seen the Yale students attempt to monopolize bartenders' attention, and they seek to be served immediately when they approach the bar, even if another student from a different school has been waiting longer than they have. They tend to come in large groups and take over the busier sides of the bar, and they'll order large quantities of shots and/or mixed drinks, potentially in an attempt to further show off their economic advantages. On several occasions, I have even overheard Yale students claim that they believe they should be tended to ahead of other students because they will obviously be spending more money than the other students will that night. The Yale kids have been known to claim Friday nights as Yale nights and will question why there are larger groups of other Quinnipiac students present on these nights. In addition to dressing up in button-ups and ties, Yale students have also been known to deck themselves out in Yale gear, whether it be a sweatshirt, a hat, a t-shirt, or any other mix. Time and time again, I have seen the Yale students trying to get mine or the other bartender's attention by waving money across the bar in hopes that we will serve them next, or we will stop what we're doing to go tend to their needs. The Quinnipiac students also tend to hold a certain disdain for some of the Yale students. Besides the physical distance that they place between the groups, the Quinnipiac students will usually try to completely ignore the Yale students while at the bar. The Quinnipiac students have been known to make passive-aggressive remarks about how much the Yale students will order or how they will wave their money around in attempts to get a bartender's attention. On occasion, I have witnessed several potential threats of physical altercation between the groups for seemingly no reason. When asked why they would threaten to fight each other, the 2 groups did not seem to have an answer other than the fact that they're Quinnipiac students or they're Yale students. When researching this topic, I found one study, The Socioeconomic Stereotypes Among Undergraduate College Students by Amanda Gilmore and Paul Harris. This study examined the stereotypes that are associated with lower income and upper income status college students. The study found that negative stereotypes are more often than not associated with the lower income status students. This relates to my topic of discussion, due to how the lower income and the upper income college students will view each other and develop biases about each other. The findings of the study can be present to explain some of the biases that appear in the relationship between the Yale students and the Quinnipiac students. My My chosen field of study connects to the criminal justice system in the aspect of class status and stereotypes that are associated with it. For years, statistics on arrest rates, conviction rates, crime rates, and incarcerated individuals have disproportionately represented the status and race of criminals in our society. The majority of crime is believed to be committed by minority or lower class individuals. But is this because lower class status people are more likely to commit these crimes, or is it due to the fact that societal stereotypes lead to a larger number of arrests of these individuals? More in-depth studies and statistics have proven that upper class people are just as likely as lower class people to commit crimes. The conflicts between college students of different class statuses mentioned in the study on the previous slide is just a small indicator of the bigger problems that class status has within our criminal justice system. It is simply a small depiction of the constant struggle within our system between people of lower class and people of upper class. Based on my observations and other studies, it is clear that the division between social and economic class is not just a problem of the past. The interactions between the Yale students and the Quinnipiac students, as well as their unsupported biases held by both groups, are a clear indication that class status still influences the lives, beliefs, and actions of the younger generation. Even though our younger generation are more accepting when it comes to other societal controversies of the past, like race, sexual orientation, and gender, we still come to a roadblock when we come to social and economic class. Other articles I have found that rely on the work of Pierre Bourdieu describe how young people have an understanding of their social class position and how that position can and does prevent them from obtaining certain opportunities and success. The article goes on to describe how younger people are able to identify what class status they are in and what class position they are in individually, and they can identify what opportunities they are prohibited from due to this position. The findings of this study, as well as the earlier study I mentioned, support the fact that these Quinnipiac and Yale students seem to judge their opposing counterparts based simply on the schools they are enrolled in and whether or not they come from money. The upper class students tend to feel more superior, while the lower class students tend to view the upper class ones as stuck up and bragging. The fact of the matter is, class status has and still is a big problem in our criminal justice system, and that can be seen in various aspects of society. Whether or not we'd like to admit it, someone's class and economic status does affect how we view them and how society views them, and can influence the path that their life takes.